Hi guys, and welcome to video number 215. This one is on harder Venn diagrams, and there is a previous video that you can watch on this topic. Please do, because it's about shading and notation. It's quite useful to know how to do those things. The keywords are universal set, intersection, union, and element. The universal set is how many things there are within the Venn diagram itself. The intersection is the crossover bit. The union is just a collection of everything, not including the things that are on the outside of the circle, so just everything inside the circles. And the element, or an element, is just a member of the set, which I've explained sets in the previous video as well. So the method states you may get some Venn diagram questions where you need to put numbers in the right places and then calculate probabilities. That's kind of what you have to do. We need to understand what each part of the Venn diagram represents, which I'll go through in this video. Place the numbers in the right places, if you do have to do that. Calculate some probabilities. Remembering answers are given as fractions, and then watch out when you need to form equations to find missing values, because it can get a bit tricky, which is why it's kind of a grade 8 topic. Now, question number 1. The Venn diagram shows the number of people who wear hats and are girls. Okay, now the number on the outside there, 15, represents the number of people that are neither girls nor wear hats. Alright, so H stands for hats, G stands for girls. The 23 means that there are 23 girls that wear hats, all right, because the 23 people that are in the intersection bit, right, the crossover bit. We need to find the probability that a person selected at random from the total number of people that are in this Venn diagram is a girl who wears a hat. So a girl that wears a hat is 23 of them. We've just mentioned that. All right, 23 girls that wear hats out of all of these numbers added up. If you add up all of these numbers, we get 10, 20, 60, 80, 90, 100. We get 100, so that's quite nice. There is an answer to that first question. Now, it's quite simple, isn't it, I think. Now, B, find the probability the person is a girl given that they do wear a hat. Okay, so this time we're looking at the circle that represents the number of people there that wear hats, all right? And the person is a girl again. So the girls there that wear hats, 23 of them, squeeze this in, out of, and then the total number of people here would be 40, all right, in just the hat wearing section. Okay, so it's slightly tricky maybe, but interpret the words carefully and you should be okay with something like that. Right. Moving on to number 2, we've got this symbol here, which actually stands for the universal set, which I've mentioned in the previous video. The curly brackets are the sets, the set notation, and this universal set is the numbers from 1 to 15. Okay, you might get that written as an inequality, you might get some horrible looking notation. Don't worry too much about it. It just means the numbers between 1 and 15, inclusive of those numbers. So P, set P, is all the prime numbers that are in between 1 and 15, and set F is the factors of 30 that are in between 1 and 15. All right, that's all we have to think of here. So what we're going to do is we're going to place these numbers, and I'm going to label each of these circles. So P can be this one, and F can be this one. Okay, I'm not going to, or maybe I'll write them out before I write them in the circles, and then we'll look at what the questions are. Okay, so the prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 and 13 between 1 and 15. And the factors of 30, you should be able to list factors, I'm hoping, if you're watching this video, are 1 and 2 and 3 and 5, 6 and 10 and 15. 30, but 30 is not in between 1 and 15, so we won't list that one. So that's the numbers there. They could be given to us, but they were just written here, so we had to kind of have that extra layer of thinking. Now what we do is we place the numbers in the Venn diagram. So 2 is one that's in both the lists, so that can go in the middle. 3 is in both lists, so that can go in the middle. And 5 is in both lists, that can go in the middle. And there's nothing else that's in both lists. 7, 11, 13. We can pop in the P circle, or only P, and then cross them off. And then F circle, only F, 6, 10 and 15. Right, now we've got numbers left over that are between 1 and 15, so we have to write them in as well. Oh, I've missed out number 1 as well, so 1 fits into there. So what we've got is 1, 2, 3, we need 4 on the outside. This doesn't fit with either being prime nor a factor of 30, so it goes on the outside. 4, 5 is there, 6, 7, 8 needs to go there, 9 needs to go there, 10's in there, 11, 12 needs to go in there, and 13 and then 14 needs to go there as well, and 15 is there. Okay, so we've got all the numbers there. It doesn't matter where we write these numbers on the outsides, as long as we've got them on the outsides of the circle. Now, a number is picked at random. What's the probability of it being a prime number? So if we're choosing it from this set of 15, the universal set of 15, it's going to be out of 15, and prime numbers, there are, well, we can look at the set that we've written here. There are 6 of them, right? Or we can count the numbers, the number of elements in the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 15 would be our answer. We could simplify that. Again, it's probability, so we don't actually have to bother. Now, being a factor of 30, what's the probability of it being a factor of 30 if it's picked from P union F? That symbol there represents the word union. Again, watch the previous video to help you understand that a bit better. And that is just a collection of both of these circles, all the elements that are within these circles. So being a factor of 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those out of, well, we just add 7, 8, 9, 10, right? 7/10 is the answer to that question, because it's the union of P and F is the denominator of our probability answer there. Hope that makes sense. Right, moving on to question number 3. This is the very kind of exam style tricky question, worded. You haven't got the diagram drawn pre-drawn for you. You have to sort it out yourself. Now, in number 3, out of 150 students, there are 47 who only study history and 35 who only study geography. If you see these words, it's probably useful to start thinking, maybe I could draw a Venn diagram, right? It's 2 things, only study this, only study that. Try and think about, okay, I'm probably able to do a Venn diagram. Probability, and if you see probability, you're thinking, I can use Venn diagrams to sort my probability questions out. That a student who studies geography also studies history is 5/12. So what's the probability that the student chosen at random does not study either subject? Well, what we need then is our Venn diagram. We need that diagram there to see things visually. Okay, and what we've got is an H and a G circle, history and a geography. And we've got some numbers we can pop in there. So we know the total, the universal set, I'm not going to try and draw the symbol, is 150. Everything in this Venn diagram would add up to 150. We know that 47 only study history. So 47 only studying history is this bit of the circle. All right, it doesn't overlap with the geography. 35 only study geography. And we know the probability of an event here, right? So what we're doing is saying we don't know that number. Right, and we also don't know that number, so I'm going to call them X and Y. Right, now the probability that a student who studies geography also studies history is 5/12, so we can form an equation and solve that equation to work out what X is here. Alright, if we can work out what X is, then we can work out Y is, because we know that everything has to add up to 150. So what we need to do is form an equation. Now that equation can be formed using this part of the words in the question. The probability that a student who studies geography also studies history is 5/12. We're going to form an equation that's equal to 5/12, right? A fraction is going to be equal to 5/12, right? If we put X at the top of that fraction, that's representing the number of people that study geography and history, okay? Out of the total number of people that study geography. Well, the total number of people that study geography is X and 35 added together. So X plus 35. All right, that bit there is the hard bit to kind of get your head around, I think. All right, once you've got that sorted, all right, and have a rewind if you need to. Once you've got that sorted, you can then solve this equation by multiplying or cross multiplying your fractions. So 12 times X gives you 12X. And 5 multiplied by X plus 35 is going to give you 5X plus 5 times 35, which is 175, I believe. So we're half of 350, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just thinking 10 times by 35. Then we take away the 5x's, so it's going to give you 7x is equal to 175, and then we divide by 7. So X is going to be, that fits in twice with 3 left over, yeah, 25. Yeah, 25. So X is 25, right? Once we found that X is 25, the rest of the question's easy because we can add 47, 35 and 25 together, and we can just kind of do a simple equation work backwards there. So we've got 17 and 7, 9, 10, 107, and then we do 150, I don't know, right? 7, 12, 17, yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah. So that's 150, and we take away the 107, and we get 43. Okay, so there are 43 people sitting here on the outside, so y is equal to 43. And that's the probability the student is chosen at random does not study either subject. So the probability is the answer. It has to be out of 150 because they're chosen at random from the whole sample of people, and we're going to put the 43 on the top. Alright, it's forming that equation bit that I think is really tricky. Always think really carefully there. That's a really useful way to try and solve one of those sorts of problems. I hope it makes sense. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do keep practicing, work hard, look after yourselves, look after one another, like, subscribe and practice. Take care. Bye bye.